Hi, Lester, you ready to go? Okay. First, we're going to do our commercial.
Well, we just want to welcome you because they done dropped you. They done dropped you. Yeah. Okay. Do I pull it up now?
No. Yeah. Well, I have it. Do you want me to pop it up on my page? Or do you want to put your
So.
I got it down. Sharon sent it to me this morning.
All right.
So we're in good shape.
You said we dropped you. They're supposed to.
Mr. Kid.
They dropped you in the sharks.
I know. How's Dad? How's the family?
No, I looked at myself. Oh, you got that wrong.
No, I haven't seen it. But, wait, is this commercial?
The only thing in the ocean I have for wine, eat sharks. You should see his face. You in the water. No, I said, I'm orchidinias. The lack, the bringer, yeah.
So remember I shared about my
let's
son,
understand
so
what they
he was in Greensboro, so he was in a movie, so we were a whole month, well not a month, so they wanted us here for a month, but then so close to was traveling for
in the third.
You're an adult and you get to do stuff like that. That's why I just kind of run trains, but
I need to get back to the gym. I haven't been in a couple of years. Need to get back.
A week's not too long, but it's also a long time if you're trying to like be regular. Yeah.
I don't have to pay anything for him.
Oh yeah, true. True, because you're paying whether you use it or not.
My first job in corporate America, I rolled up the Toys R Us the store manager. How you doing? After we'll have you in the store for a year. When I quit, they called me and asked me to come back. I didn't know what special that was. You know that I was what, when you got college, 21? Yeah. Oh, you know, my daddy. I had 4 years. I ain't had no choice. There ain't no 4.5. There ain't no 4.25.
I lost all my eyes.
Oh, that's the best part too.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Maybe that's Jesus saying you don't need it yet. Just knock it out. The icing is the best part. Have you ever like broken the cupcake in half and then you put together and then you have like a little sandwich?
Never tried. That sounds like an awesome idea.
It's my favorite way to eat cupcake. You really lost all of it? That's so sad. That's not fair.
There's more back there.
See if you make the sandwich and your icing will fall off.
Okay, so you want the boys? I think it's working right. The boys will play.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Sounds good. I do not.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
awesome.
You know what? I gotta rename my company.
Okay, yeah. Oh, right there. Okay. I was like, I know that.
Last name.
Oh, yes, please. Do you have
No, you're fine. Most people name their businesses. No, I think I had a really good agency. I first started with her. My boss sent me to call it. Ooh, that's so right. This thing, he's out. Have you seen this too? On creative? creativity. This is a Boykin thing. I'll send you this one just to watch. He ran creative and wine and kid in the 1980s. Yeah, not for us. So, Ed Wax of the 4A's, he's a long time president of the Trade Association. He said, it is time to do information. And he had his arm on the table. And I looked at him and the name is actually a reminder that, you know, we speak there. Since my bosses were like, how in the world is I've got some. And my boss is like, listen to people. Well, I just know the vision for it. I'm a target audience. And that's what I was what is different. What I teach you. I just like
the primary video is
now this was gonna be a little bit scary. We didn't play last time. So we can see right now. And we can go right to it. But I was sharing
which one?
I'll share that one because he's talking about creativity as far as everybody. It should be yes, no, it should be
Good morning, everybody. If you've just joined us, take a moment to scan the QR code. This is how we take our attendance. We just want them to know that we are alive and thriving. If this is your first time with us, please also scan the QR code and become a friend of ours.
that one's broke. We're slowly but surely killing all of them.
Awesome.
But he thinks that something is.
Yes, I can. Take another minute or two to get everybody in and settled and scanned, and then we will start the show.
And please silence all phones, alerts. I can still sing that jingle. On the light. Oh, Big Red. They break off Specifically, time of day. Yes. I have friends because it's only coming on once. This album is almost this morning. I gotta wait till the next week.
I was a freshman in college, rushing to
Alright, last chance, everybody. One more scan. If you haven't scanned, please scan.
Okay.
But you remind me about my email, right?
Yes.
Alright.
Let's get together. I have your contract from Thursday. Yes. Can you send me a message?
No, maybe.
Alright.
There it is.
Gotcha. You want to say anything before I push play?
Yes. Hopefully this works. We tried to show this before. Simplicity. Keep it simple. Know your target market. Keep it simple. Know your target market. Keep it simple. This is funny because it should be men, but the target market is actually going to turn out to be women. Go ahead.
Okay, pray for sound.
Yes. Nope, no sound.
No sound.
Wait a minute.
Can we make sound on the TV?
I know.
He said you had to change the audio source in her computer.
Ah,
What do you need me to do?
You can put it on the TV or the bar.
yeah. UPC friendly? Okay. I'll tell you about this real quick. I'm gonna give away the joke. Bonds is an underwear company. Men underwear. These are testicles. This spot ran only in Australia. Only. Got press in Asia, Africa, and Europe and America. Women started contacting Bonds knowing from those four markets, mainly Europe, Asia, and America, on how they could get these underwear for their men. It got so big I think it reached up to about 14, 15 million views before YouTube took it down and re-put it back up. So the numbers are never accurate on YouTube. Oh, there we go.
Ready?
Yes.
Alright.
Real life.
Brain will just explore a female. We're thinking heading over for a conversation.
This is the brain. We won't be doing that. Stay the course.
Brain, we really think this is an opportunity. We should definitely head on over.
This is the brain. This is not an opportunity. I'm in a board meeting. Presenting.
What? Is he not seeing what we're saying?
Yeah.
You itchy? No. God, really. Gotta get an itch from here. Stay away from me, man.
This is the brain. Brace for impact. In 3, 2, 1.
Did you feel that? No, I think I feel okay.
No, I think we're gonna be all right.
Why does it hurt? I just can't get to get the just really.
Alright, come on, man.
You not itchy at all? Where am I?
What?
I don't even know where I am.
What do you mean?
It's just so uncomfortable.
It's so beautiful.
It's never been this comfortable.
The last line is, you ever get a feeling we're just a couple of balls?
That's right.
Understanding the market, your target audience, a universal truth, a couple of them in there actually. Ask any guy who's ever been hit down there. That's what happens. You go, I'm good. Oh my God. But the strange part was they thought men were their target audience and discovered men don't buy underwear. We'll ride out them raggedy things to the end. Women saw this curse and first weren't offended. And then second, we're like, oh, comfortable underwear from a video. And Bonds had a problem because they were getting so many requests out of market for their underwear. In Australia, they ruled the roost. They did stuff like for temperature on the side of the building. The two guys were paying, and the colder it got, the further up the building they went, the hotter it got, the farther down they went the building. They did a whole campaign off of just two things. Dad's gonna roll his eyes at me, production cost for this one. Not the filming of it, but just the production cost of it was less than $10,000. That's 2 chairs, 2 talent, and a voiceover. Now you're gonna pay to get shot that beautifully and edited and everything.
Thank you for adding that.
Yes, you're gonna pay for it. But simplicity, folks. We put too much into our advertising, our marketing. People are looking for one point. So keep your message simple, understand who you're talking to, but if you think you're talking to the right people and the market tells you differently, you don't force it with the people you want to talk to. You pivot to who the market says wants to hear your message. They didn't change the message, they changed where the message lived. Once they realized women were interested, they started putting the video around women programming. You know, that's a simple pivot. So, simplicity and understanding, folks. I will find something different, less offensive next week. Not really.
Please scan the QR code if you just walked in so that we can take attendance. If you are new, this is your first time with us, please also scan the QR code and become a friend. So thank you. We'll give everybody one shot at that, and then we're going to get going. All right, so welcome. This is 1 Million Cups, and the mission of 1 Million Cups is to lower the barrier of access to education, resources, and connection for all types of new season and aspiring entrepreneurs throughout the United States. We give presentations, not pitches. We make authentic connections. We're not just here to network. And we're radically and intentionally inclusive. Most importantly, we are run for the community, by the community. And what I mean by that is these are the local businesses and business owners that bring this to you every week. So we are grateful for the USC Columbia Technology Incubator for housing us. We're appreciative of Waffle House for providing your free coffee. And below are all of the local business owners that get the presenters, put the marketing together, and bring this to you weekly. No one gets paid. It is a labor of love, and it is a community that we believe in, and all we get are lousy t-shirts. Bob, show them your lousy t-shirt. That's it, folks. All right? So, the end. Our local program, we have been here for over 10 years. We are held weekly on Wednesday mornings. We have had over 500 entrepreneur presentations, and we also offer educational topics like finance, finance, future freighting, networking, and provide local resources. Usually we have a one presenter, although we're going to change that up and have 2 presenters a week with a 5 to 6 minute presentation followed with Q&A from the community. We also have had baited sessions where entrepreneurs come back who have made a significant amount of money and they share their stories with us. We are always free, we are always open to the public, and we do provide you with some caffeine. We are a national organization. The next closest 1 Million Cups chapter is our neighbor over in Charleston. Every week, everyone in the 1 Million Cups meets at 9 a.m. on Wednesdays. If you're ever out of our area, go check out one of the local meetups. Again, it is not a sales pitch, so we are asking for presenters. When you present, the goal is to have people understand what you do and some of the challenges you've had in building your business. You're here to talk about your entrepreneurial journey. The room is not filled with customers or clients. The room is filled with your colleagues and other business owners. We do like young companies that are 0 to 5 years old and open to community engagement. We also like maybe you've got an idea. Come and present your idea to us. Or maybe you're rebranding or you're relaunching. We love those stories as well. You can apply there at that link, or you can come and see any of our organizers to get set up with that. I'm taking positions for October, so we're filling the October pipeline right now. We have 2 Facebook pages. One is our 1 Million Cups, which is our national page, and this is our 1 Million Cups Columbia. It's kind of more of our little family page, if you will. If you're not a part of that, please join and become a part of that. This is where we want to really encourage a lot of our local engagement. So if you have a resource to share, you have an event you'd like to promote, maybe you're looking for a resource, we want all of that engagement here on this page. We've got some upcoming presenters. So September 17th, we're going to have David Beets with Biosensor Solutions. September 24th, we're going to have Jordan Tiller come in, and he's going to talk about his company, Handcrafted Heritage. On October 1st, we're going to have 2 presenters. The lovely... I like that. We have Holly McEachern. I'm way off, right? Eastern. Yeah. Thank you, Holly. My apologies. Mr. Corey Jones, they'll be talking about their businesses. And October 8th, Miss Lauren Tiller is coming in with her business called the Reunion Hub. A nice reminder, this is the time to take a minute and just silence your phone, put it on vibrate, just something so we don't interrupt our presenter. And thank you for doing so. And last but not least, so today's presenter is Mr. Lester Boykin. Lester is the founder and owner of a company called Accountability is Freedom, and it is a leadership coaching company helping purpose-driven Black and brown business owners and creatives take full ownership of their lives and business. They don't believe in hustle culture or performative growth. They believe in clarity, structure, and the power of personal responsibility. So while I bring his presentation up, please everyone, let's welcome Mr. Lester.
Don't get me started. Thank God. Good morning. My name is Lester Boykin, and I am going to start off this morning with, I just want to make sure that this slide works. I want to start off this morning and talking about my story of accountability. So every story is a story of accountability. And today I'm going to tell you a bit about my story. The other morning, I saw a sunrise whistle across the heavens. Orange and red ran across its surface like a painter's brushstroke on a canvas. As I watched the sun stand up against the blue sky, birds sang as silence smothered the morning shiver. The other night, I saw a pipe pressed against my mother's mouth. The stench of burnt plastic latched itself against my nose as flames and smoke calmed her nerves. Claimed her soul. Her addiction crawled itself into my nightmares. For years, I watched as weight jump off her bones and teeth fall from her mouth. The bags beneath her eyes ran darker and deeper into her skin. Ashes followed her every step as a cloud of Newport smog slithered along the surface of her clothes. Alcohol fumes lingered tightly upon her breath as she puffed death into her lungs. Every day she looked less like my mother and more like a pile of withered crumbs. I've seen blood gush out her face from a fall down cement steps, her cheeks black and blue. Blue. Blue like my father's veins. Blue like the sky the sun stood up against. Blue like I feel because my father shoots heroin into his blue veins. Father, I called him as I searched for his presence along back streets and empty alleys, only to find him in a house at his lowest with no lights, his arms scarred and slightly covered in white paint. He reeked of a year-long hangover as his hands, dry and overworked, held me up with joy. He was a ghost in my book of pain, a phantom in the opera of my cries. At night, I asked myself, where was my father when I cried? Where was his touch when my faith in fairy tales died? I asked myself, am I my father's son? My mother's child? Shoot, maybe if I was the sun and stood up against the blue sky, maybe then my mother could see I hurt. Maybe then my father could see the eclipse of pain every morning I looked into myself. Y'all, my parents were supposed to be my sunrises. Instead, they became the storms in my quest for attention and love. Thank you. I was debating on whether I should do that poem, but it's very important to bring you to my close. So, because of my parents' lack of accountability, I dealt with a lot of trauma in my life and abuse. I was pushed into the foster care system. I was told that there was things wrong with me. When I got to high school, I failed miserably. I had no one to show me the way. I was telling my friend, I stayed back in 9th grade 4 times because I refused to go to school. I think I stopped reading on a consistent basis in the 3rd grade. And through all of this, I had a very special person in my life, which was my grandmother. And she instilled in me the power to continue to move forward. Every summer, she would buy my ticket and pull me out of the environment that was destroying me. And later in life, I found out that this foundation was going to be very influential to the entrepreneurship journey that I was going to start 2 years ago. And so, through all of this drama, I made my first real accountability choice and decision. And I decided to go to Job Corps, where I got my certification in computer technology. I got a background in IT. I learned how to become a professional individual in the work employment system, and I worked in an employment system for about 22 years. Every job that I've ever had, I've always excelled into a leadership position. Without a doubt. No, what 2-3 years, it didn't matter. I was always up there because I made this early decision at 17 years old to leave home because I understood that my environment was the most impactful thing that was going to either help me or destroy me. So I left. I went to Limestone, Maine. I was in the middle of nowhere, and I had to figure out what I was going to do.
Point towards the computer. Back here. Okay.
So, this is what molded me. That decision got me my first job in surgery. And I worked with some renowned surgeons. If anybody knows Dr. Bino, he's a trauma surgeon from Prisma Health Richland. And they actually have a whole floor to him. He used to date my aunt. And every time he used to see me, he used to say, "Hey, nephew." But working in surgery, I was trained by some pretty influential people that were in that department. And one of the main things they taught me, one of the things I learned was being proactive. And though I learned that during this process, I got fired. I failed, and I was no call, no show. I had fell into the typical employee mindset where I just didn't care. I was pushing everything off on everybody else, blaming everybody else. I thought that my parents' story was my story. And I embodied that, and it was a horrible thing for my life. During losing that job, I found out that I was going to be a father. So of course, everything hits you at once. I failed miserably with my daughter. I lost 15 years of her life because I was unprepared as a young man because of my foundation. And I understood that, and I came to terms with that, and I accepted my responsibility, my ownership over my results, and that pushed me into my faith. And when I stepped into my faith, I truly found light, which I realized I've always been great with kids. Kids are always running up to me. I don't know what it is, but I found a job in a daycare, and I worked there for about 3, 4, 5 years. Well, about 3, 4 years, and as you can see, my children were super excited to always have me in their room. And this was my first experience at any type of coaching. They used to call me Coach Lester. And they would, oh, Coach Lester, Coach Lester. Till this day, I still see some of these children, and when I see them, they just bawl. And they tell me how influential I was to them during this 3-year period that they spent with me. And it showed me something. It showed me the light that I could actually give other people because I'm an awesome teacher. So in that, as well, I found my love for storytelling, which is poetry. That's the piece. That's how I tell my stories. I tell my stories through poetry, through writing. I'm a writer. And in that, in poetry, I found love. And I got married. And I became a second-time father. And God gave me another opportunity. And I wasn't going to waste it. And I found my passion for film and photography. So I started a company called Blue Sky Film Production. But in that, I did not find, I still wasn't, I didn't have a purpose yet. I couldn't find my purpose. And so during all of this going on, I ended up stepping into a leadership position, working for a security company, and I became an operations manager. And I was the operations manager of the 4 major Prisma Health hospitals in the Midlands. These are 4 multi-million-dollar contracts. And at the top of my game, making $30 an hour, I quit. I wasn't happy. And it was a bad decision. It was a very bad business decision. I had consistent income coming in, and I left it all on the table because I still had not yet found my purpose and built the skills that I needed in order to be the kind of leader that I wanted to be. And so then I was like, what next? What do I do next? I have no job, I have a family, I still have bills coming in. What am I supposed to do? So I became a door dasher. But in that came my turning point. And that's when I started reading. Reading has been the #1 influential thing in my life. Information and knowledge has changed the trajectory of where I am headed forever, and where my children are headed, and where my friends are headed, and the people that I'm surrounding, and the people that work with me. All this information, I just kept intaking, and I said, you know what? I don't want to just read a book. I want to become a reader. So for the last 2 years, I've developed skills through my own teaching. I'm an autodidactic individual. I can teach myself whatever I want to. And in that, all these books, taking courses, paying for my education, I found my purpose. And that's to help entrepreneurs design and sell offers that match their true worth so they can help and serve the communities that need it. What I found out was the community that I'm in was having problems with understanding how to do business. And I was having problems. I didn't know how to sell anything. I didn't know who I wanted to sell with. I didn't have any of these answers, but I found those answers by doing the work, going in the books, not just reading the book and saying, yeah, I read that book. No, I read books 5, 10 times consistently, and I still read them to this day. And I study them, and I take notes, and I rewrite the information that's coming to me so I can better understand what's going on. My grandfather taught me that in other countries, if you get a car, if you want your driver's license, you have to know how the entire car works. Every book I read to me is a car. And I need to know how it works if I'm serious about learning that information. So that brought me to accountability is freedom. Because tomorrow is the most expensive word in your vocabulary. I spent many years just sitting on the sidelines, waiting for somebody to tell me what to do, making excuses, pointing fingers to other people, blaming, saying, oh, it's this person, oh, it's all of this. But never had I looked within myself and said, well, what have I done? What are the circumstances of my reality, and how can I change those? And I only change those circumstances by putting the new knowledge into myself so that I can create something new. And so, thank you.
Thank Lester and our coaches. This is probably another poster child for what a presentation is supposed to be like. So it's his journey. We didn't get pitched to sales. He didn't tell us about it. This is his journey, and that's what we're all about. So I'm going to open the room to questions to Lester about everything and anything. You okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
Let's do it. Okay, go ahead. Raise hands. First one.
I've seen the presentation twice now, so how do you keep getting up? You know, I mean, as business folks, a lot of us don't recover from the losses. You know, once we get knocked down, we stay down. You keep getting up.
I think it's a bunch of things. I think it's my children. I think it's my family. I think it's for myself. I keep fighting for myself. I've been fighting for myself since I've been a young man. And I just will not bow down. I will not lose. I will keep fighting. My grandfather, my grandmother, they were so impactful. And when I lost them, I wasn't present. I wasn't present at all. So those conversations that I wish I could have with them today, I know that they would be very proud. But you have to keep changing. You have to keep evolving. You cannot stay the same, or you will stay complacent and ignorant, and you won't learn anything. And being in that place, you will not be successful, because I had too many examples of what it looks like when you don't continue. Starting with my own parents. Those visuals were real. Those were real things that I seen. And seeing that, and it affected my entire, not just my family, my entire community on a consistent basis, it will make anybody not want to stay still.
So, Coach, thank you for sharing your heart in such a beautiful way. It's mostly for you all. So I was registering my little girl in high school, and was done registering her, and all of a sudden this little boy, not much bigger than this beautiful little boy, was just running around and talking, and he was brilliant. He was just brilliant. Like, I was like, are you like a child genius in high school? That's what my brain thought. This little beautiful boy, brilliant, asking me questions and talking about this. So much so that I sat down on the floor to chat with him. And he had a vocabulary that you couldn't imagine. And that little boy is Lester's son. So we heard about his dad. But wow, what a father you have become. Brother, you did it. And the proof is that little boy and that little girl. So thank you, because you did it for generations to come.
Wow. Walk in the back, and then we'll come to you.
How did you learn to speak? That's, I mean, you practice this a lot? When I talk, I put people to sleep. Classes, books, how?
Books, experience. What I realized on my journey was that the experience that I stepping into leadership positions forced me to learn how to speak. And really, when I worked at the hospital, we kept losing supervisors. So one night our supervisor didn't show up, and I just kind of took over. And I didn't know that I had that capability, and I started directing people. And I guess I would really give credit to a program that I took when I was a teenager. It was like a camp counselor meeting, and we used to have to get up in front of the kids and sing songs and things like that. and then just consistently being in leadership positions, I just learned to communicate. I try to stay to the point because we all can get off on the tangents. So yeah, that's and just continuing to learn, continue to read books. Some book references for you guys. So.
Wow, Coach Lester. First of all, I just want to thank you for becoming the person you wanted to see in the world, right? And just for your raw emotion, just being a man, that is something that you don't see all the time. And for you to be able to express that, that is very important. That is very important to see. Your journey is very impactful for me because I've worked with justice impacted youth. And it's a lot of young boys with big dreams that don't have the foundation to support that, right? Or the family, and they have some of the most horrific stories, and it reminded me of those stories. So I just thank you for breaking that curse, and then with the testimony of this young lady talking about your son and your daughter. So I want to give you props for that. And also, you said something. You said that when someone didn't show up, a supervisor, you just kind of stepped in and did what needed to be done. And it reminded me of a book that I read called A Message to Garcia by Albert Hubbard. If you ever read that, you got to check it out. And it talks about the difference between 1% and the 99. And you represented that 1%, having the ability to just take just make executive decisions, seeing something and stepping in and correcting it. And it seems like you've been doing that throughout your journey.
Yes.
So I just thank you for that.
Thank you.
You had me at the phone. And fortunately, I have it on video, so thank you for that. That was absolutely mind-blowing. So now I want to know what you do. I want to know about the money. I want to know where you take it, and I want to know what your practice looks like. Tell us what. I don't like accountability. It's not my favorite thing. You need to know that. So go.
So yes. So this book I put big for you guys because the Oz Principle was actually the first introduction to individual and organizational accountability. And it's just a 4-step framework on how you take the steps to accountability. So that's what I teach in my coaching. I teach people how to take those steps to accountability, along with a plethora of other information from different books that I've combined and created sort of my own design on how I teach somebody about business. I don't do regular sales calls, regular sales tactics, everything. One of these books taught me conversations over presentations. Another thing I learned was how to position yourself as an expert and how to build like a practitioner rather than an everyday vendor. And so I've implemented these. One thing from Atomic Habits was systems over goals. Your goals can only get you so far. The systems are what take you on to the next level. So I've implemented all of these different types of systems, little pieces and parts, so I can create my own sort of teaching method. And I've been using that to help my first client, which is a tattoo artist. And I've been also recording his videos, but also teaching him, sending him through my own. He's my first beta client, sending him through my own teaching method and teaching him what to charge, why you need to bring your prices up. He has a brick and mortar and was doing $30, $100 tattoos. And I was like, listen here, sir, you're gonna have to take some classes so I can show you why you need to bring your prices up. So it's not just, making sales, it's about actually helping people, serving your community. You should have processes in place in your business. You shouldn't just be asking somebody one question before you give them a tattoo. You should have a plethora of questions so they understand what they're about to do. They're about to change. Sales is change management. You're helping people go through a change, and that's a very big responsibility. And if you take it lightly, if you don't take it serious, of course you're not going to get any customers. Of course you're not going to make any money. Of course you're not going to be successful. So accountability rarely comes in place when you're building a business, because if you're skipping steps and you're playing games and you're not serious about it, people are going to people can easily tell when you aren't serious about your work, and they will not buy from you because I won't. I'm a bougie buyer. I like nice things, and if I feel like I'm a bougie, I like to go to websites, and if I don't like your website, I won't buy from you. If it looks like it's thrown together, if you didn't take the time to find somebody with decent photography skills and things like that, so I teach people about that start in their business, because it starts with the fundamentals. A lot of businesses don't have, especially in our community, a lot of people don't have fundamentals. They don't know what a sale is or how to make a sale. They're just saying, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur, but isn't willing to do the work where you actually have to. There's two ways to get the knowledge. You either go read it yourself or you go buy it and you have somebody teach you. That's the only way you're going to get it. And me, after quitting my job and I had no money, I said, well, I'm going to have to learn it. And I was okay with that. I knew that it was going to take me longer, but I knew that I had the will to, for all the things that I've ever been through, I knew that I can get that information and turn it into something. And that's what I've been doing on a consistent basis. This young lady back here, and then you, Derek.
Are you pointing at me?
Yep.
Okay. Hey, so I've talked to you a couple of times, and one, I'm blown away by the passion that you have, and we've talked a little bit, but I'm definitely learning, like your why is just really impressive to me. And so my question is, and I didn't really know how to ask it when we were having our chats offline, but my question is, how do you present that to someone? Like, hey, you need this, or do they come to you? Like, how does that exchange happen initially?
So through a conversation.
Okay.
Conversations over presentations. Oftentimes people forget. A lot of times we're pitching in our conversations. We're always trying to pitch ideas or pitch how we feel or our belief, and it becomes very transactional, even if we're not talking about money. And so what I realized was I wasn't having conversations with people, right? I was doing more talking than I was listening. I've learned to listen to people and what they're telling me, and that's how I'm able to navigate whether they need my services or not. And sometimes it's not going to be one conversation and I sell you something. There's a sales process that I have in place. I might need to touch you maybe 4 or 5 times before I actually present something to you, right? My first beta client, I talked to him for about 3 months. And then I realized, like, oh, this is bigger than just, because you have to build trust with people. People aren't just going to give you a bunch of money, especially if you're if you have a high ticket offer. You have to learn about the person and what they're really going through. And you can't do that through one conversation, right? It has to be consistent. So that's pretty much how how it happens. If it feels like there's a need, then I might present something. And each sale that I present is going to be different based on what the person actually needs, right? I don't sell the same thing to everyone. Everyone needs different things in their journey in their business. So that is.
Yeah.
Okay.
We go with that. I'm gonna get with that and I'll follow you.
Copy that.
All right. So you mentioned your fundamentals.
Mm-hmm.
There are some fundamental things that you look for.
Mm-hmm.
So give us an example of the core fundamentals that you look for when you're vetting a client.
So I'll ask questions like, who are you selling to? Can you tell me, can you run me through your sales process? What does it sound like? Matter of fact, you sell me. I'm gonna come in and I want you to sell me something. Hey, how you doing? I'm Lester. I'm looking to get this today. What questions do you ask? A lot of people don't have questions. They're like a deer in the headlights. Well, that's that's the first indicator. Now, some people are a little bit more along in their sales process. Some people are a little bit more seasoned, right? So then that's a little harder because I need to find out where are your pain points, where are you having problems at, and I ask those questions like, what are you having trouble with? you need any help somewhere? I don't know what they need help with yet until they tell me. So then a lot of times it's rooted back to that fundamental that they might have been doing so much work, moving through, and they've tossed something off to the side. Working with big businesses, there's a lot of things that get overlooked, right? Down to employees, down to people used to steal time. There's all these little small minute things that you can miss as an entrepreneur because you're trying to get to a specific level that you might miss. So it takes sometimes another person to come in and ask those very specific questions about the fundamentals. Like, for instance, the Win Without Pitching Manifesto is a 12-step manifesto on how to win without pitching, how to present sales to people without presenting or having some type of major ta-da. It teaches you how to just have a conversation with somebody and to see if they actually need help. That answer?
A little bit.
A little bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was looking for like preparation.
Yeah, I'm looking for, so for instance, you're meeting with a new client. Right? What are the things that you are going to get out of your conversation that meet your core principles? Like, are they in a space where they have some of their processes, but it's not refined? Are they a nervous person that feels like they have to, I'm just throwing examples out here, but like, is it a business where the owner feels like they need to work in the business every day, and if so, is that a hindrance in their process?
Yes.
Those kind of questions. So I'm looking for the core that you use.
Okay.
When you sit down with someone new, that you're going, okay, I see this, I see that. These things, these boxes that I can check that allow me to know if I can help them, or is this something that I need to run from because they're not even ready for my help?
That's a good question. So one of the things that one of the core questions that I asked is how much time are they spending on their business rather than in it? So if a lot of times I'll see people spending more time in their business and they haven't done any work on their systems and processes, and that's working on your business. And that's how you actually create a business. Working in it, you're just an employee. You might as well just go get a job because that's what you're doing. When you can start thinking about ownership, you start understanding about delegation. How can you delegate this task over so that you can find more time to work on the business?
Okay. I'm gonna, as a coach, I want to speak to the room. This presentation, the way he started, the level of the questions and comments you guys have presented is why we say presentations, not pitches. He set himself up to be vulnerable and honest and human, and the room responded. That's what we don't do in our businesses. We always want to be perfect. We want to be the ultimate, whatever we are. We don't want to be flawed. We don't want to be human. And I want to tip my hat to Lester for this, because this is gold standard, folks. If we've got it recorded, go back and watch again. There's a lesson in what he did that as a coach, I'm finally happy. Because you keep telling people, don't come in here and pitch. Don't come in here and pitch. We get so few presentations. And folks think they're smarter than us, that they disguise a pitch as a presentation. This was not there's no pitch in this. And I'm hoping you understand how important it is, that conversation piece. Because when you market yourself, if you're not having a conversation with me, you don't get in my wallet. And that's what he was saying. And I just want to drive that home, because this is what hinders us.
2 more questions. Yes, ma'am.
I was just gonna say, congratulations, Lester. I think I've known you for maybe close to 14, 15 years now. And coming back and seeing your growth is phenomenal. think my question for you is, you know, what is next as far as like your journey? So that, you know, it's not maybe in this presentation, but can you give us some insight to what the next 3 to 5 years look like for you?
Yes, the next 3 to 5 years is doing the same thing I've been doing, learning. I will never stop learning. That has been the most, my wife is an educator, and she sent me a podcast about how the education system has messed up children's reading. And I was like, oh my God, that's me. And she was talking about how they take these, they change all of these different things about phonics, and they try these different things out, and then they fail. And these children are 9, 10 years old and can't read. And I was like, man, that's me. I still write like a 3rd grader because I stopped writing in the 3rd grade. Right? So for me, the knowledge, the saying to myself, wow, I can buy a book for $10 and get the type of information that's going to help me be the better version of myself. I'll spend that money all day. All day. I will spend the time. More importantly, I will spend the time and put it into myself, because that's what I'm going to give that's what I'm giving my son from what she's saying. I'm teaching my son, I don't play music in my car. I play books. And my son listens to these books every morning. Sometimes he's like, Daddy, I can't hear. Turn it down. Right? But I'm teaching him these things. I'm teaching him about steps, how to take steps. Everything I'm learning, I'm passing it on to him so he can pass it. This is how we change the trajectory of what's been happening and passing down that wealth. So, you know, my first major goal is I want to make $100,000 in 1 year. That's one of my first goals. That's a very serious goal, and it takes serious planning. It takes serious building to get to that location, to get that to that area. And you know, after that, I might want to make 200. I don't know, right? I might not even need that much, to be honest, right? My goal is not to be in the giant house, and you know, I just want some land. I want to be off somewhere, and I want to raise my children, and I want them to have the proper education that I didn't get. So that's where I'm headed. That's my trajectory.
All right, yes. Thank you for this presentation. It was very eye-opening, your experiences. You know, a lot of us come from families who didn't have so many challenges, and you know, when you see someone firsthand, it's really kind of say, wow, you know. But thank you for that. But my question is, which one book you think, after all this time, has influenced you the most? Which author? Which one? And how does it influence you now? And how do you think it will take you into the future?
Atomic Habits. James Clear. When I started reading this book, I had an awakening about what habits were. I didn't know what habits were. I heard the word, people talk about, oh, I got a bad habit. Well, this gentleman, he breaks down the entire habit system, and he gives you 4 new laws, per se, on how to effectively change, get rid of, and make new habits. And that's what I've been doing. And I've been applying the frameworks that he's taught. I've learned them. I know them by heart. I can tell you what a habit is. It's a cue, craving, response, reward. And the laws to change it is to make it obvious, make it easy, make it satisfying, and make it... I forgot the 4th one. But I continue to visit the information that he's been... And it's been life-changing, because the North Star of the entire book is to connect your habits to who you want to identify as. That first slide had a picture of me at 16 years old, and the only identification I can identify with was with rappers, drug dealers, and whatever I was shown on TV. And we all know that ain't gonna get you nowhere in life. And so getting older and deciding, like, you know, I don't want to be the type of person that leaves dishes in the sink. I want to be the type of person that sees a dish and says, oh, let me clean that. Boom. So that's been very influential, and it's actually one of the things that I did before I did my presentation is I've been in here for the last 3 months, sitting up front, taking notes on what every presenter did, and I would record it on my phone, and I would transcribe it, have AI transcribe it, and then study the notes, listen to what the person said, run back through what happened during the presentation, what I liked, did they go over time, did they answer questions, did they pitch, or did they give a presentation? And I took that information, and I took it serious, and I prepared. I sent my presentation in, whatever the coach told me to change, I changed it, and it was successful. So Atomic Habits is where I started. It's a proven way to build good habits. I mean, your habits run your life, and a lot of them are invisible to you. That's one of the things that I do in my business is I help you notice what habits are holding you back, because sometimes we just can't see them.
Taylor, could you ask the final question? Oh, I'm sorry, but we don't have time.
Go ahead, he was gonna ask the last one.
Oh, you want to ask the last one? Okay, next time. Go ahead.
What can 1 million cups do for you?
Continue to provide this amazing environment because it has been extremely life-changing, and just continue with that, and I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Lester in person, learn more about his company. He will be here. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. Please bring a friend. Let's grow the community. Thank you. Well deserved. Like farmers market, classes like Fort Jackson.